if you take a girl out on a date, right? Because I want to kind of get this down, and I order, let's say I take her out and I'm like, let's go Subway. And then we just go Subway and I order a sub and I order her a meatball sandwich because that's my favorite too. And you think that's going to work?
No.
Yo, I want tuna. You don't get tuna. You get what the?
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad that you got that. Yeah. And here's the answer. The answer is this. It depends. It depends on.
So Nixon, I have a question. So, what do you think about guys that are like kind of like beta or like kind of like not leading? What about those guys and the guys that lead?
Yeah, good question. I would just take away the label of beta and just focus on that concept of leadership in a relationship, because I think that's way more important. Because like you can be a nerd or so-called nerd and lead. It doesn't matter what you are. That doesn't matter. What matters is you need to be leading in a relationship. And I'm really glad you asked this question, because I need to stress that. I got so many stories of women, and all they always say to me, and the theme every time is this: is, damn, I just love how you took initiative on everything on this date. You took initiative on, what we're doing. You didn't ask me, kind of silly questions.
Right.
And why would I keep, and let me ask you guys this, why would I keep re-hearing this from women all the time? Why is that happening? Why do you think that might be happening? That she would have to bring that up to me?
Maybe because she doesn't want to be the one that takes initiative.
That's correct. And she's tired of guys constantly asking her questions about that. Hey, what do you want to eat? Hey, where do you want to go? That's the last thing that they want. So you need to lead, and with certain things, especially early on, it's really, really important. I used to, let's talk about this one. I used to date, she was like a vice president. I'm not going to go into names. Okay. Gentleman doesn't, share those type of details. But I will just share.
Vice president.
Yeah.
You're talking about Kamala?
No, she was like a VP of a really prestigious bank. And,
okay.
and when we, on our date, we're talking, this is like, I don't know, we're like an hour and a half in, and we're having conversations about stuff. And she just says, dude, I love the way that you were texting me. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you just got to the point. You took us to a nice place, just ordered drinks. I like that. Now, again, not every woman's going to like that, but
Yeah.
think about her position, right? Every day, especially women who are working corporate, right? Every day they're making hard decisions. Some of them manage doing things like that. Do you think that they want to make more decisions outside of that when they're trying to have a good time? Do they think that they want and need that? No, they're looking for just, someone to just, hey, I like this. I mean, just lead them to that place, right? And so I can't stress that enough. And that's what I want guys to maybe that's my tip for you guys today, is just start having that mindset where you're kind of leading the way a little bit more. Because, man, I'm tired of hearing it from women telling me this. Yeah. Like, damn, why guys always do that? I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
So if you take a girl out on a date, right? Because I want to kind of get this down, and I order, let's say I take her out and I'm like, let's go Subway. And then we just go Subway and I order a sub and I order her a meatball sandwich because that's my favorite too. And you think that's going to work?
No.
Yo, I want tuna. You don't get tuna. You get what the?
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad that you got that. Yeah. And here's the answer. The answer is this. It depends. It depends on, does she like you? Because if she likes you, it doesn't matter where you go. I can sit on the bus stop. We can eat a candy and we'd be happy. You understand?
Yeah.
But myself, right? And you yourself, it just depends on who you are as a man, right? I'm comfortable. I like going to nice places, buying certain, I like trying different types of drinks. I like certain ambiance. You know what I'm saying? That's me.
Yeah.
If they happen to gravitate in like that as well, then hey, that's why you're winning. That's why you might be having an edge, Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't taken a girl. We just went walking and had a great time. We didn't do nothing, didn't spend a dime. These things are all possible. It's dependent on how you're, what level of attraction is she at, How much does she want to be there? I'll be honest. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I'll be honest.
I'll ask after.
That's what you just said is probably a great test You know, if you want to speed things up and just say, I don't want to waste time. Hey, we're going to Subway and see how she reacts. That might be a great freaking test. You know, just to see that, right?
That's what happened with me and my wife.
Yeah, and it worked out.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. See, that is a perfect example of she liked you enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then it's deeper than that, right? And this is why, you know, like I always stress, don't try to make things so elaborate the first date. If you get a first date, you know, I only go for drinks. We're not eating. And I'll tell you why we're not eating is because I just need to know that you're there for me. And our interaction is enough, right?
Okay.
And this is why, do you guys know why 80% of OnlyFans is like all guys paying? The reason why that is because they're they're doing it the wrong way, dude. They think that they need to dish out cash, right, to actually have a woman like them, love them, which is true for girls that like to use you. Oh yeah, all day, but you don't want that as a man. You want someone to be there for you, correct? And that's what I'm trying to stress, guys. Is there's a better way to do this, and that's why people reach out to figure those things out, to find that way, because we're doing it wrong again from many facets, many areas, many angles. We're attacking it wrong, you know. And so once you learn how to attack it right, you don't really have these problems moving forward, you know. So that's my whole thing on that. So
other than that, besides Shore's great Subway story, how can what is your advice for the other guys or the guys out there that instead of the Subway thing, how can you gauge that? Like how can you tell if she likes you or not too? Like, you know, like leading on, like going on a date. How would you know?
best advice you guys are gonna get all day is this. Okay, this is my favorite.
Okay.
It's hard to execute, but this is the easiest one. And once you do this, you will always find the one, or you eliminate the one right away.
Okay.
But not many guys can see. Even though I give you this advice, you still won't be able to do it because it's a trained. You have bad training, bad habits.
Oh, okay.
And the answer is simple.
It's a secret, guys.
This is it. The answer is super simple. It's just cooperation. That's it. Are you getting cooperation? Now, what does that mean? Let's dive into that. Cooperation means, okay, well, is she doing the things that I need her to do? If I ask for simple things, I'm not asking for anything complicated. Right? So if I say, hey, I'm going to run to the bathroom really quick. Do you mind just grabbing this drink really quick? I'll be right back. That's one. If I come back and didn't cooperate, didn't do a simple task, there's a problem.
Yeah.
But I'll take it even a step further. Let's back up a little bit. When I'm texting, right? When you're texting, right, and you're not getting certain kinds of cooperation, it's already over. And here's what I mean. So, hey, see you Thursday, 7 p.m. Cool. Does that work for you? And then you get the reply back of, sorry, that won't work. Like, okay, well, okay. What do you do now?
Do you just give up, or?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. My point is this: the reply is the cooperation test or not.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yep.
Because even if she's not available, she should be saying what?
Yeah.
What should she be saying? What should she follow up with?
She just comply, just say yes.
She would cooperate and say, yeah.
Or she'll find a way. Do you understand? She'll say, oh, you know what? I'm actually really busy that day. Let's do Friday at 7.
Okay.
A suggestion, right? It's just these little things that we miss out. Guys miss all the time. That this little thing, right? And guys won't do it because they don't even have what we call a program, or they don't have a set way of how they think about doing things.
Yeah.
They don't have a structure. This is what I help people do, is build that structure. It's like, oh, you should be, figuring out. This is how you know to answer your question if she likes you or not. She's happy to do those things. If she don't like you, she's not going to do it. But if she likes you, she's going to do it. She'll go to Subway.
Yeah.
She'll easily happy to, grab that drink from me, order that drink from me while I'm away. Right? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying, guys? And this is the reason why guys are missing this point, is because they're not asking for A, they're not asking simple things like that. And then B, they're too worried about what we said earlier. I'm too worried about trying to make her happy. They forget that they exist too. You guys exist as well. Your life matters too. What you want matters too. We need to go back to those certain things, and women can tell right away if you are that guy or not. They are biologically better, social cues, all that stuff better. They can feel that stuff. So you can't lie your way into it. This is why I try to teach people it's more than just dating relationships. It's beyond it. It's your masculinity, it's who you are, and it's understanding who you are, discovering that. If you don't discover who you are, it's gonna be really, really hard for that woman to figure out and discover you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
What about like first impressions and stuff, or like, oh, what if I do this, what if she don't like it, or what about all these things?
Again, what you just mentioned goes back to what I just said.
Yeah.
When you're worried about stuff like that, you're worried about that because you don't know yourself. You're self-conscious because you don't really understand and haven't discovered yourself and don't love yourself, right? Those are the guys that worry about that. And again, we've all been there. I've been there too. But what happens is, and this is what I want to ingrain into guys who are young, is like, dude, you need to be doing what you want to do. Doesn't matter. And don't worry so much about, being self-conscious about things. If she likes you, she's gonna like you, bro. It's only up to you. It's up to you if you're gonna fail and like mess things up. When she already likes you. That's the part. The problem addressing that I want to address is the part of figuring out that attraction first. That connection. But I don't know. I'm getting all over the place.
no, I'm
it's
following.
good.
I'm following along right now.
So you're saying that you should be yourself and just be authentic?
Damn, I wish I could I can answer that so simply, but it's complicated.
Yeah,
I guess I could put it this way because
Yeah.
when I met my wife, right, I was broke as shit, so I took her to Subway. My card declined, and so I had to find another card, and I used it, and thank God it went through because it was only 2 subs. I didn't tell her, and then I had to go gas up, and I barely had any money, so when I went to gas up, she asked me if I had money. I'm like, yeah, of course. Pull out a bag of quarters. Yeah, broke as hell. Any girl nowadays would probably be like, that guy's fucking broke. Why the hell am I with this guy, right? But you don't know. But since my wife, she cared enough, she's still stuck with me. Yeah, and that's why we're married.
Great story, and I love that, because what happened here, right? We want to break it down, is you found somebody who just genuinely likes you, and that's hard for people to do, and it's harder nowadays because again, the times have changed.
Yes.
But not just that, people have changed, and then how we connect is changing, and so we have to. I always say this. I always say it's almost like I'm retraining people how to like do things break bad habits. This is men and women. Break those bad habits you have to actually start, revealing that side that connects us as human beings a little bit more. And that's kind of what I stress.
So then people are always nowadays on their phone, touching the screen, touching computer, watching whatever. How would you communicate with like a woman or somebody like that? You just text them? Because usually nowadays you can't even call anybody anymore.
I mean, you can still do it. Again, if they like you, they'll pick up.
They'll pick up.
But yeah, communication has the type of communication that we do now has changed. It's just another outlet, but the same rules apply,
Yeah.
Like if I'm texting somebody and, they're taking a long time to reply back, when we know in this day and age, you always have your phone with you, that's kind of disrespectful, or that's a lack of uncooperativeness, right?
Yep.
They're not cooperating, right? And
Should you stalk her on Facebook first?
Nah, bro. You
Because women do it too. Women do it too. They're like, let's take a look at this guy. Nope. You know what I mean? Women do it. Come on now. Women do it.
So yeah, women do it, and
women do it.
and I, you won't never ever catch me stalking nobody, especially women. And the thing is, I'm tired of guys that are doing that. Again, they're hurting themselves in that process instead of playing real life. I call it playing real life.
Oh, okay.
You want to keep playing with your phone and playing with all these things, ideas in your head and imaginations, and or do you want to play real life? That's what's going to come down to.
Yeah.
I only help guys who are ready to play real life. I'm not going to be playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Texting game.
No. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
Texting is a part of interacting.
Okay.
I'm not eliminating it. I'm just simply saying that, this is going to require you to be interactive in the real world, and it's going to be very uncomfortable. But hey, this is what we have to do if you want to achieve the goal of what your original question was. You want a girlfriend? Like, this is what you're going to have to do, bro.
Yeah.
And so it's these things. And it's really simple how we talk about it, but there's a lot more layers to this,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So how do you know when a woman is like not open for conversations, like, or like, you know, when you try to approach them, like, how would you know?
I'm sure we all know.
Yeah.
What I say is, you need to know when to walk away. You know, and we know when they don't like you. You just need to know when to walk away, and that's where I got struggle too. Man, I have this really. I don't know if this share this one, but we'll share it. I was at this like one name type thing, you know, and randomly there's this gorgeous girl. She's like I found out later she's a bartender, and hottest chick there. Tons of dudes hounding her, like literally hounding her, like surrounding her. You know,
Is this a Far East?
no, this is at someone's house.
It's like one name.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm thinking, oh, okay, you know, I get it. She's hot, you know, everybody wants to talk to her, which is fine. I'm looking at her though, you know, and I'm sure she's used to it, to the all attention and everything. But what happened with this, people got a little bit more drunk. Some of the guys stopped talking, and then like the drunk guy kept talking. And he didn't know when to go back to the point. He didn't know when to walk away, you know, because at that point now it started to look like not like she's not having fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I would say is, you know, you need to learn how to, like, when it's not there, you know, you need to be able to walk away. I don't care about, you shouldn't worry too much about the rejection part. Just worry about, hey, you know what? I always say very cordial, very polite, very lovingly. Hey, no worries. Let's say I get rejected, right?
Yep.
Hey, no worries. You know, you guys have a great day. It's nice talking to you. You know,
Yeah.
Boom. You don't have to be those people who are just bitter. I hate that shit, dude. It's a reflection of that person. You know, when you interact that way. Anyways, back to the story. Just to really wrap it up. The way that she was so uncomfortable, you know, and then when the friend finally came in to grab him because he was so freaking wasted and making her feel uncomfortable. I came and just said hi to her, you know, say, hey, I've been seeing you, you know, I was doing my own thing, and, you know, you seem really cool. You know, who'd you come here with? And just the usual talk, just try to figure out things. Because, dude, she was getting hounded, dude. And so just to have polite conversation. Long story short, we started having great conversation. She gave me her number. After all that stuff, you know, we went on a date and all that. It was fine. It was good. But I remember her telling me that story. Like, dude, it was so crazy, dude. And you're the only guy that just talked to me like human being, just chill, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I say I want to share that story because there's many ways to kind of approach it, you know, and I don't know. It's just know when to walk away, know when to not be in that. Don't be that guy. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm sure, dude, he must have just been in love with her, dude. Like, you know, in awe of her, you know?
Yeah.
But then you need to know how to, like, filter that shit, you know?
It's hard when you're in love.
Well, that's not love. I would argue that's not love. It's infatuation.
You're infatuated with her appearance.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about she was beautiful. But then have you ever met the type of guys that like try to talk to them go and then to them go they get mad or like
that's
beat their ass like
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that shit?
Yeah, and correct. That's
fucking crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen young. I've seen that happen, you know. But it goes back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
Why do we have that problem? It's because it goes back to the root. This is why I'm doing what I want to do, so that we can learn how to communicate differently. So we don't communicate that way anymore.
What if they're trying to show their masculinity? You know?
No, but there's
Sorry, cut you off.
no. That's fine. I'm glad you're saying that.
I just think it's
there's
funny.
different levels of it, you know, and we tend to, you know, we tend to think that it's one way. It's not. There's many ways to show, you know, assertiveness, masculinity in a positive way. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, that's just somebody who is not socially calibrated. Your example, that dude was just not socially calibrated. You know, if he was, that would never happen. I'm trying to create a world where we have more socially calibrated individuals, you know, especially with guys, because those are the guys that are suffering the most. Women are natural communicators.
Yeah.
They don't have this problem. They're the ones that can detect that weird stuff right away.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
they can feel your energy force before you
Correct.
approach them. Before you approach them, they can feel you.
yes,
Your energy. Like,
yes, but that
guy.
energy can change as soon as you open your mouth.
Yeah.
You could be a good communicator or you can be a horrible communicator.
Right?
Do you think that health will play a role in that too? Like taking care of your health, taking care of your appearance? Do you think that would be a plus, or do you think that it's
gotta be a plus.
You know, it's 你種你家咯，你仲達到一度能夠呢？
Yeah, it plays a factor, it can help, but that doesn't mean that it's going to solve it. You know what I mean? To go back to my original point, like, yeah, it's definitely a damn positive, you know, but there's people I know that they never fix the inside, you know what I mean? The mental state, the understanding of themselves because guys, there's people who in the army who beat their wives too. They're healthy as heck. There's people who are bodybuilders are, what I'm saying, they still do,
Abuse.
Can't get the
abusive
one.
things.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So yes, health is super important, but there's that physical and mental health that needs to kind of find a way to collaborate and work together. You know what I'm saying? And then there's understanding of self. What we're really talking about is just social awareness and social skills. That's really what we're talking about. Those things need to get better. So
how much do you charge? Like
But Chad, you're married, though.
yeah, I know, but I might need a backup. No, just kidding.
Rosemary, you
I'm
better.
just kidding.
no. I'm
I'm
just if this is something that you really are interested in, just reach out to me. We'll figure something out. The funny thing is I'm having parents reach out to me too now because they see this in their kids. They can start seeing this stuff. Like, do our teenagers now are being affected by this like way more than we know?
Yeah.
The times when we were younger versus the way that they're being brought up now, it's a whole different generation.
Why do you think that though? Why do you? Do you think it's the communication, or do you think it's because the ladies have changed, that they've seen too many shit on social media that's kind of drawing them to want this type of guys, and it's a fairy tale fantasy life that they want? What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's a combination of all those things. We didn't have phones when we were in high school. Some of us didn't. Like I didn't have that when I was, in my age. So it's different. And so it's a combination of a lot of these things: social media, how you're looking, how you're presenting yourself, and just a lot of the gossip stuff. All this stuff, it existed back then. It's just times 10 now because of with phones. And that's the difference. So I can share stats about like young women are cutting themselves more. This is a documented thing. I'm not making this up.
Wow.
You can look at the stats in high school.
Oh.
And then like young men are more isolated more than ever. Like, again, not making this stuff up. It's all there. And so all of these things are you would think, you can't point it to one thing and say, hey, it's the phone, it's the social media. You can't point it. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of how we're doing society now. And I wish I had the answer. I only have a hypothesis, my solution, which is, dude, we start working on our social skills. We start playing real life more. Mm-hmm. It can start eliminating these things and preventing things, And I think that I'm happy as heck that they reached out to me, these parents, and saying, dude, like my kid's like he just wants to play video games all day. I don't know how it can help. I can just say that, dude, I can have a conversation with this person, with your, obviously, I'm not going to I don't like to help people under 18. I don't do that, but I like to kind of give some guidance, and then if I have their permission, we can have conversations and stuff. That I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that. I just know how to connect the dots, and that's just what I've done. Although I've dated a lot of therapists, but that's another story.
It's funny you said that, because I actually met a guy, and his son is like 25, 26 years old, and all he does is play games.
Right.
And I see that a lot too. There's a lot of our generation now that are in their 20s, and they're not living reality. They're just playing games.
Correct. And again, that's what I'm saying, is because the times are so different, we have all of these devices and all these, to sum it all up, what we're talking about is called escapism.
Okay.
Escapism is essentially the idea of we're just running away from things,
Yeah.
We're playing video games, we're just watching porn, we're doing all of these things, we're on our phones, we're kind of running away from all these things that are not real life, And until we kind of like make a decision to like understand, hey, this is not working out for me. I got, but it's hard. It's addicting. The developers, they created it to addict you to do it, right?
Right.
And so that's the whole thing, and so that's why parents are seeing that connection now as well. They're like, they want to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I all I can say is, look, I can suggest certain things, I'm happy to help certain things, but I don't know how to solve that problem.
Right. Right.
It's not one thing. It's not one magic bullet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wish it was, but it's not.
Gotta take away the porn,
Right.
Make them work for it.
Right. Right. Well, again, they're making robots for that now. You don't need to, what I'm saying?
Well, that's if they have $60,000.
Right.
All right, we're gonna take another break, and
Yeah.
then we'll come back.